Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Lunch Table Podcast with Dylan and Akram. If you're new to the channel, please make sure to like and subscribe for more content. For this episode, we are reviewing Netflix's You Season 4, Part 1, starring Penn Badgley. So yeah, Akram, what did you think of the return of this series?
Yeah, I felt like I preferred more of the last season than this one. I find it kind of weird that they split it off. I'm not actually why they did that. They could have just released every episode at once. But nevertheless, it's a scene change, location change. Really interesting to see him in London or in England. And I think some of the supporting cast members are your typical cast members, right? A lot of them are assholes, but they're fun none the least. But what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it was interesting how they spun this season. It was kind of like a whodunit, like murder mystery kind of. And it was kind of like a twist on Joel Goldberg's character because usually he's the stalker. Now he's kind of like the prey, I guess, if you want to say. So now he's in London and he's trying to start fresh, and I felt kind of bad for him because he was trying to like redeem himself and like turn a new leaf, but then like through these events he kind of like is thrust back into this world of like murder, sex, and lies and stuff. But yeah, what did you think of like the new cast? Like I think we have Charlotte Ritchie as Kate Galvin. What do you think of her character?
Yeah, that's the thing with Joe. He's like always interested in these characters that by happenstance have baggage and some issues or daddy issues too, which is kind of weird. I don't know. It's kind of repetitious, but you know, that's the show. But I think Charlotte Ritchie did a great job, of course. I think she's a great actress. But I don't know. I wish that this was a little bit more different, but it was more of a location change. And there's some other stuff that happens along the way that kind of differentiates it. But yeah, I think it was just a mixed bag of the same type of characters, like the archetypes, you know, and it's not for me. I love like the other seasons. I don't know. This season, I was kind of bored by it.
Yeah, I forgot most of the last. I remember bits and pieces of it when he was kind of living in the suburbs and kind of trying to like live a new life too. So here it was kind of like, yeah, it's basically like the same tropes. Like he falls in like this inner circle of like these very like elitist assholes. It's so funny how this show manages to like make you like Joe, even though Joe is we're supposed to hate Joe because he's a sociopath, but like he just surrounds himself with like the worst types of people. It makes you actually like, it makes him seem like normal. Yeah, what did you think of like the whole like reversal role of him being kind of like this victim or this target, right, for this new kind of stalker?
Yeah, I think that was one of the most exciting elements of the season was that you know, the roles kind of reversed. I don't know what app they were using. That's an interesting app, shady app. I felt like they could have did a lot more of it too, to be honest. The whole premise of like this part one was that somebody's killing off these elitists and he's kind of like in their circle now, and he's trying to figure out which one of them is the killer, and so that's kind of exciting, but I think they could have just did a lot more with it. I don't know, that's and then they revealed who it was at the end, like in episode 5. I was like, why not just keep it teasing, keep it going? The mystery's gone now. It's like whatever.
Yeah. I mean, I kind of figured out who it was by like the 3rd episode.
Well, just say it. Yeah, just say it. Spoilers ahead.
Spoiler. Yeah, spoiler. It was basically Reese was the killer. After they killed like the artist dude, I kind of like figured he might have been the killer just because like the way he was acting, like, and he's kind of like an outsider to their group too. Like he's rich, but like he comes from like a lower class background, so I was like, maybe he has like a vendetta. But we were talking off screen earlier. I was like, I didn't really understand his motivations for killing these people because it seemed like he was kind of like profiting too off being their friend too, because like he's still kind of like rich. but like I couldn't understand like his motivations, to be honest.
Here's his motivations. He's an asshole. He's an idiot. He's a crazy guy. I really didn't understand that either. I mean, the guy wants to reach high and be the mayor of London. It's like, why are you going to go out of your way and to get Joe involved somehow and try to kill all these people and blackmail him? It just seemed like this thing that was tacked on unnaturally. And that's why I felt like this is probably one of the weaker seasons. And I don't even know if this is going to be the last season of not you, Dylan, of the show. So yeah, I don't know. It was whatever. I liked Reese in the beginning. I thought he was like a nice character, and then later on his persona completely changed. It was like, okay, it kind of felt like Scooby-Doo. It was like, oh, now you act different. It's weird.
Yeah, it was like he's like this very like I don't know, established, like well-mannered character in the beginning, and then he was kind of just like this fanboy for Joe, like towards the end.
He was too much.
I kind of took it as like he was kind of like this copycat killer that like was like an admirer, kind of like you ever see like those Zodiac killer like copycat guys, right? They kind of want to like emulate their idol's work. But I also kind of thought it was kind of like he's like Joe's like Moriarty in a way, like his equal. Because we've seen like characters like Love who were like crazy, and they were kind of like similar to Joe, but never like on the level that he was, like how efficient he was at getting things done and like killing people off. So I thought that was kind of cool that like they play with the idea of like Joe having like an equal, and like Joe having to become like a detective, and kind of like this like he has to fight himself basically, right? It's like Joe has to like fight himself. So I thought that was interesting. But the rest of the cast, I mean, they were great, but the characters themselves, I did not feel anything for them when some of them died, because they're like we said, like they're just assholes. Kate, I mean, kind of was like outside of that, because like they revealed like she has like a more somber like background with her father, so she's kind of like she regrets like her family's like decisions. But they set her up to like be this like love interest. But I feel like they bonded way too fast over the first 5 episodes. Yeah, what did you think?
I think Kate reminded me of a more hurt in her life Alicius from season 1 or whatever her name is. What's the first girl? It's like the first girl was very naive. And it's like Kate. I hope that she doesn't get into the nitty gritty of it and like actually full blown murder somebody out of love, because then I'm like, oh my god, here we go again. It's
just another thing.
Yeah, I mean, what I like about the show is that, and especially with what you mentioned about the Moriarty thing, Joe, he displays a different type of love, even if it's a very psychotic version of it. It is still a part of it, right? It's just exemplified. And this guy, Reese, is more of the pure essence of like selfishness, and perhaps he has admirations towards something else. I don't know, but he's Joe if Joel was like very cold. And I think what this guy Reese is gonna do is he's definitely gonna try to get Kate somehow, like a gotcha or something. And I feel like for the next part, that's how it seems like it's gonna lead up to. It's gonna be more big, and maybe that's why they split it up into 2 parts. And I think Kate's still gonna have a huge part to play. I'm just like, I don't really care about her character that much. I just hope she's not like between the two, And I feel like that's how they're gonna set it up. And it's gonna be like, oh, Joe has to now move again because he's gonna do something to protect her. And I don't know. I'm just tired of it.
Yeah, and they also brought back Marion in this first half of the season from season 3, but then like they never did much with it after. So I was kind of like, okay, well, are they setting this up for part 2? Like, is she gonna come back somehow?
Yeah.
Like, what are your thoughts on that?
You're right. Yeah, I think they're gonna bring her back. I think Reese is gonna not kidnap her, but invite her somehow or something, and she's gonna be a new form of blackmail. Like, you better not mess with me, or else I'm gonna kill her. Or I could also use her to turn you into the police. So he could do either or. And then again, it could come down to a choice. Like, who are you going to choose, Kate or Marianne? It's going to be like that. But I don't know where it'll go from there. Because then basically after that, it's going to be a repeat of season 3 where like he's with a new girl. He got her pregnant. There you go. Like,
I kind of took it as she was like a loose end. I thought actually like Elliot was going to find out that like, Joe didn't kill her, and then like he would go after him because they kind of made a deal out of it that he was gonna kill Marianne.
Oh.
But then he just took a picture of the necklace and was like, the job's done. So I figured like maybe Marianne was gonna go to Love's father and tell him that he's still alive.
Oh.
And then that gets Elliot in trouble, and then maybe Elliot has to go and finish the job.
Mm-hmm. Well, that could happen. I mean,
yeah. So I mean, who knows? And then there was like the other thing. There was a lot of like missing plot points. Like, what did Joe say to Phoebe that made her like so in love with him? Like that's something they keep, right? I was like, let's subscribe to the lunch table.
There you go, guys.
So we still have that plot point. And yeah, I mean, it could have been anybody really, but I think the fact that they just revealed it like halfway through the season kind of like it made me lose like interest because like now what's gonna happen? Like it's just gonna be the rest of the season just gonna be like him trying to fight like Reese. I kind of wanted that like that mystery of like, and I was kept thinking like through the whole series like maybe like could it possibly be Joe that's actually killing these people and he's actually having like a schizophrenic moment where like he's actually like battling himself? Yeah. I thought that would have been more interesting, to be honest.
I think so too. I think it matches the theme too. It's like he's trying to better himself all these seasons, and it's like,
but he can't help it.
It's a natural reaction. It's his body actually taking over, and I think that's even harder. To deal with. It's
too instinctual for him. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, maybe we'll get more out of the friends too. We have Raul, this guy that thought Joe was the killer. And maybe some of these, because that's really weird too. It's like, how are the friends going to behave around Joe if Joe sees them again too? Because they basically tried to kill him. I don't know what's going to happen in the other part. I don't know if they'll really be involved directly. But I think Roald will probably help Joe out. Actually, I think the reverse, and I think they'll team up somehow. I don't know. You know?
Yeah. Fair points. I mean,
yeah,
maybe it's just more of Adam getting pissed on next.
Yeah. That was weird. And they're all like shitty people. I mean, that's the thing with every season. It's all like these shitty. You wouldn't hang out with them, right? Nobody would really hang out with them.
Even fucking Malcolm and the first friend that we meet, he's such an asshole. It's like all he cares about is like impressing his friends. Like, okay, well, then why should I care that he's dead? You know? Yeah. The only one I really even like you said, like I don't care much for Kate, but she's the only one I would like hate to like get killed off. Yeah. But even if she got killed out, I'd be like, okay, well,
good.
Yeah, exactly. Like, okay, it's like, well, then he's just gonna move on to another place and then make another friend group. It's like, where does the trope end?
Yeah, I think what you just mentioned too, they could use that. I think he doesn't love himself at all, and I feel like if you do make another season and you want to end it there, you could find a way for him to actually be okay with not being with anybody, like or he dies. Like it's maybe that bad.
Just be called Me,
right?
Season 1,
like it's a spinoff or something. I mean, I don't know where else you could go with this. Obviously, we have the Reese thing, and okay, that's wrapped up. And then what happens after that? Are you happily ever after with Kate? Will there be like a season 2 type of end scene where it's like, oh, there's still women out there? It's like, I feel like this guy's main problem was just women. Of course, they explored that. It's like
Joe just goes gay in season
right.
5. He's like,
I would expect that. I would expect that. I mean, they could go really deep. I feel like the friends are always goofy, and you're right. You have to kind of make these people that surround Joe assholes all the time and really goofy, because you have to sympathize with Joe being a psychotic killer. So that makes sense. But enough is enough with the goofiness. Like, I really want to get dark, and they've gone dark before, but I want to get dark in like themes.
Oh, you know, I just realized, what if Reese somehow finds out where his son is, and he uses him as like a hostage, like leave me alone, like don't tell people who I am, or I'll find, because he did research on him, so he knows like he has a son, so right? I'm pretty sure he could use that as like blackmail or something. I
mean, there's so much at his fingertips, especially he's established and he's running for mayor now. I mean, yeah, I don't know. The sky's the limit of where they could go with the blackmail situation with Joe. He has a lot of baggage as well, and he's always attracted to the same people that have the same kind of baggage. Do you have any other thoughts before we actually wrap this up?
I mean, it's just one of those series. I don't think it's so funny. That's right around Valentine's Day too.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like one of those guilty pleasure shows like you watch on Netflix.
Right.
But I enjoyed it as a thing just to watch. Overall, I mean, cinematography was great. Locations were great. I like the music choices that they pick sometimes too. It's just like it feels like a fresh take on like what modern kind of like dating society is. Like it's very twisted and it's very, I don't know, fucked up in some
Sometimes
areas.
superficial too. Yeah.
Yeah. I like when like he mentions like the whole like Gen Z and millennial thing. It's so funny like seeing like where people's mindsets are sometimes. Like, yeah, Nadia too. Like I felt like she was kind of like a weird like MacGuffin because she was kind of like giving him all the clues. Like it's like, okay, well aren't you literally like novelist expert? Like you should be figuring this out, right?
Exactly.
So yeah, I mean, I'm excited to see where part 2 ends, but not too excited. But if I had to rate this so far, I give part 1 probably like a 7 out of 10 or 8 out of 10. How would you rate it?
Yeah, me and you, if you guys are, regulars here, we always kind of rate them the same. It's so funny. I would give this like a 6 or a 7. I probably would give it a 7 out of 10 too. Yeah, I'm kind of tired of you. I'm talking about you, Dylan, not the show. But otherwise,
mutual. I'm tired of you too.
Yeah. Otherwise, it is what it is. It's whatever. But well, guys, that's our review. Dylan, why don't you take us away?
Yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you're not already following the podcast, please do. We are still reviewing The Last of Us on HBO. Episode, I believe, 5 will be coming out tomorrow on Friday, same time, 9 p.m. Check out our other content as well. We're doing a lot more for season 5 of our podcast. We have some revisiteds, some guests coming along the way as well. Check us out on Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify, as well as YouTube. And you can check out our social links on Instagram and TikTok as well. But until then, thanks for having lunch with us.
See you guys.